and that is prevention and control of infectious and zoonotic diseases. So I invite Dr. N.K. Mahajan to chair the session. Dr. Mahajan, please. Co-chair, Dr. Navneet, please. And rapporteur, Dr. Rajesh Sharma, to conduct this session. Please.
I'm grateful to the IBA for giving me an opportunity to talk about the work that I have been doing with the university. I'm particularly thankful to Dr. Umesh Santoke and Dr. Dixon for so this is a little bit of outline of the talk. I will talk about a little bit of background about the work and then discuss the research that we have done in the past 5-6 years with the aim to develop a brucellosis control program. So a little bit about myself. So I am, as Dr. Mahajan said, I'm originally from India. Grew up here in Punjab, in the Ludhiana district. This is a photo from my school. Can you recognize me? That one? Right? Now, none of them. I was born in a black and white era. So, so this is a photo from my school when I visited 3 years ago. That's good. As Dr. Mahajan said, I graduated from BAU and I actually worked in the field for 4 or 5 years, and then I also worked in the as an academic in PAU before moving over to Australia. And currently, I'm working as an associate professor, but also consulting FAO for 4 or 5 years now. So the current 3 broad categories of my research program. So I'm working on emerging infectious diseases, including Hendra virus. And fuse, not endemic diseases in Australia, Johnny disease, as well as clinical disease in cattle, and also working on a few zoonotic diseases, including brucellosis, rabies, and Q fever. So I will talk about the brucellosis today, but we can talk about other things sometime later. So the collaboration with Gadwasu started in 2014 when Dr. Gill asked me to start a collaborative project. So we signed an MOU with Gadwasu, and the aim was to conduct research that has an effect on the field. So I didn't want to conduct just research for publishing papers, so we wanted to do something that has influence on the field. So we decided to work on brucellosis problem, and we decided that we will work on brucellosis and conduct studies with the overall aim to develop a control program. So we have, can't hear me? Not working. I think they are working. All right, I can come a little bit closer. Is that all right? All right, that's good. So we conducted a few studies in the last 5 years with the overall aim to develop a brucellosis control program, and Dr. Gill has been the main collaborator, as well as Dr. Balbir Bagicha Singh, who has done most of the hard yards. So I will give you a bit of pathway of what we have done so far in the brucellosis, in development of the control program. So this work was already done when I went to Australia. So we had already estimated the prevalence of disease in cattle and buffalo, and it has been done in a number of other states under a PDMS project. A number of researchers have published estimates of brucellosis prevalence in cattle and buffalo. This is our estimate, but the prevalence estimates range quite a bit. We are currently conducting a systematic review to put that all together, but the one thing is clear: there is quite a bit of prevalence of the disease in cattle and buffalo in India. So we then started to investigate what is the prevalence of the disease in veterinarians and what are the risk factors for the disease among veterinary personnel. So we conducted this study to investigate that. The prevalence was about 20%. There were differences in different tests, but about 1 in 5 veterinary personnel that we tested were positive for brucellosis. And actually the exposure was quite high. The 50% of veterinarians and veterinary personnel were actually exposed in the past. So the exposure was quite high. The prevalence was around 20%. Interestingly, the prevalence was higher among paraveterinary staff, which includes veterinary pharmacists or veterinary inspectors, what they are called in different states, and animal handlers. So the prevalence of brucellosis was much higher in the paraveterinary staff than veterinary officers, and the years in practice, so longer you have been serving in the department or longer you have been working as a veterinarian, the more likely you are to be positive for brucellosis. We also asked about and identified a few risk factors. So the veterinary personnel who were at high risk if they attended to parturition cases, if they had handled retained placentas, if they had handled aborted fetus. We asked them about how many cases they had handled in the past month, and people who had handled more cases were more likely to be brucellosis positive. Interestingly, there was no clear association with the consumption of raw milk, which is the main, is one of the main factors of source of brucellosis in Western countries. So it looks like then that the occupational exposure is the main risk factor, not consumption of milk. And then we do need to use the One Health approach because if you control the disease in cattle or in animals, you will control the disease in humans as well. So moving on, then we said we know that the disease is prevalent in animals, the disease is prevalent in humans. Then we decided to investigate, well, let's think about how much is the loss due to the disease. So if you talk to bureaucrats, if you talk to policymakers, they would like to know what is the problem, how much is the loss, because the money is limited and they have to spend that money on rabies, on brucellosis, on TB and everything. So they would like to know what is the actual loss caused by the disease in humans and animals. So we investigated that using the approach used by WHO in the disability adjusted life years. So you basically lose around 200,000 years of life annually in India. So this is in humans. The loss was much higher in animals. So all of this work is published. The livestock industries, livestock lose around 3.4 billion US dollars over time due to brucellosis, and the loss is due to abortion, due to loss of milk, due to loss of calf, and other factors. So this is all published. Now we know that then based on these studies, we knew now that there is a high prevalence of the disease in cattle and buffalo population as well as in humans. We also know now that the disease causes significant economic loss in humans as well as in animals and causes disease burden in humans. So what can we do about it? So we decided to conduct a cost-benefit analysis of 3 approaches for controlling brucellosis. So we tested 3 scenarios. In the first scenario on the left, that is so the scenario 1 is about if we just vaccinate calves, female calves, 4 to 6 months of age every each. So and just conduct annual vaccination of female calves. The second scenario in the middle is where we start with blanket vaccination. We vaccinate all adult females and female, as well as female calves in the beginning, and then follow it up subsequently with just vaccination of female calves. And in the third scenario, we investigated just the first scenario, but after 10 years, when the prevalence drops to around 5%, we investigated what would happen if we use a test and cull approach at that time. So as you can see, the prevalence, it takes 20 years, right? So one first finding is that it would take 20 years with all the assumptions that we made for you to control brucellosis or eradicate brucellosis, or to reduce the prevalence of brucellosis to below 2%. The difference is that in the second scenario, where you vaccinate adult cattle as well as females, young females in the first year, and then follow up with a vaccination of just female calves, that drastically reduces the prevalence in the second year. We calculated the cost-benefit ratios as they are, benefit-cost ratios as they are given there. The benefit-cost ratio is what is the benefit and then the cost. What is the ratio of those 2 things? So the benefit-cost ratio was best with the second scenario, so you get more for your more benefit for what you spend in the second scenario, and followed by the first scenario. The last scenario was good, but then it takes there's a lot of expense of actually testing animals and culling animals. So there's a lot of money that is lost in that. All right, so this is the work that was done to then investigate. So we tested these scenarios, and then we decided to conduct focus group discussion. So now we know that there is a way forward, so we can control disease by vaccination or vaccination and test and come, but what would actually work here, right? So we need to have a control program that that is adaptable or that can work in the context of the culture and the religious situation in India. So we conducted 7 focus group discussions or stakeholder consultations, 3 with veterinarians and para-veterinarians, and 3 focus group discussions with farmers, and 1 focus group discussion with veterinary academics. Just to investigate what is actually feasible under our conditions in India. So the feasibility, I will talk about the results of those stakeholder consultations. So first, for vaccination, most of the veterinarians and para-veterinarians thought yes, it is possible to vaccinate, it is feasible, the vaccination is feasible. But they also had some concerns. So one of the concerns was that self-inoculation. So some of the people that were present in focus group discussion said that they accidentally injected vaccine in their own hands, and they also knew some other people who had accidentally injected vaccine in. So that they said that they are not, they are a little bit concerned about that. So they were worried about self-inoculation, so they are not ready to vaccinate anyone. So that was one of the concerns, and then they said, obviously we know that if it's a Brucella strain 19 vaccine, we can't give it to pregnant animal, it can cause abortion, so that's another problem. The other problem was they said the vaccine that is available, that there is interference in the diagnostic test. So if you vaccinate, then you don't know later on whether the animal is actually test positive or the animal is, the titer is due to vaccination. And then they said there is a problem with cold chain, and a few other people discussed today there is a problem with the infrastructure as well as availability of power. The other issue that many of them discussed is the availability. They said that the vaccine is actually not available, so they said that we receive a lot of, say, huge amount of vaccine for foot and mouth disease and HS, but we say each veterinary hospital in the state where we conducted these focus group discussions said we only received 10 doses. 10 doses of brucellosis vaccine. So the vaccine is not available. So some farmers can buy it from pharmacies or medical stores, but it is not in general available. So the second approach was to investigate whether test and cull would be possible, and the feasibility we have given it 1 star. So it is basically not possible or feasible to conduct due to obviously religious concerns, but also because there is no compensation. If you cull the animal, you would have to provide compensation to the farmer. There is no policy to compensate the farmers for that. And there was a lot of confusion about what are the legal issues. So what does the law say? The veterinarians were not sure what are the legal issues surrounding it. Can they, if a cow is positive, can they recommend it to be called, or is it their duty to do it? There was a lot of confusion about that. The test and segregation, we thought that this could be possible, but unfortunately when we actually investigated that, when we talked to veterinarians, veterinary pharmacists, and other animal handlers, we are giving it 2 stars out of 5, so which means that it is also not feasible. One of the issues that they identified is that where would you segregate? So you would send the cows to gaushalas, and they said they are already too full and they are already too crowded. So it is very difficult to segregate. The farmer said that it is not possible to segregate within a farm because they are small backyard farms and they don't have huge space. So it is difficult to segregate an animal within a farm, as well as it is difficult to segregate logistically within a village. The second problem they said is that, again, compensation. What would the farmer do? If you take away the cow that is positive, the farmer would need money for that. There's no compensation. The third issue they mentioned is that there is a risk of zoonosis or spread of infection. If you collect, say, 100 animals that are brucellosis positive, and there is a risk of spread of brucellosis from those animals to animal handlers and veterinarians that are looking after those animals. So that was the other issue. That's why we have only given 2 stars to test and segregation, but before we started our focus group discussion, we thought that this may be the possibility. Farm biosecurity, we have given it 3 stars based on the feasibility. Most of them said that yes, this is possible, but this is not being done, right? So there is absolutely no inspections for introductions of animals to a farm. If you purchase an animal from another farmer, it's very, very rarely that the animals are tested before entering them into their farm or hut. There is no movement, nothing is basically done when people move from one farm to other, or one household to another. Even veterinarians or para-veterinarians, when you go for vaccination, there is basically nothing done between those farms. So no biosecurity practices are undertaken. Community grazing, we thought it would be a major issue, but in the areas where we conducted these focus group discussions, it wasn't a major issue. It may be a major issue in other regions or other areas. The PPE is a personal protection, so we talked about what PPE or personal protection veterinarians or para-veterinarians use to protect themselves from infection from animals. And it was quite inadequate, and which is very similar to the situation what we have, the surveys or the studies that we have done in Australia. The PPE used in veterinarian is inadequate, and partly it is due to the type of work that we do. And the veterinarian said that it's very difficult when you are helping, assisting in carving, or it's very difficult to use PPE. Personal protection, you have to just do it with bare hands, and that's when you can contract infections. The other issue they mentioned for farm biosecurity is that there is a stray cattle concern. There are a lot of stray cattle, and the stray cattle can spread. Some of them may be brucellosis positive, and some they can infect animals, farm animals. So, right, so we come here. Now basically, what has happened in the Western countries, the Western countries that have eradicated the disease, they have eradicated it by using vaccination with test and cull and segregation, it is very, very difficult to eradicate the disease just with vaccination. You think of it as a car with car will run with 4 wheels. So if you take away 3 wheels, it won't run. So we need some strategy to support vaccination. Vaccination is required, but we need a strategy or a control program to support it. So based on our findings from all these studies that I presented and the focus group discussions that we conducted, so we have developed a 10-point control plan. It's a draft plan at the moment. It's not yet published. But we are presenting, we prepared this 10-point plan in collaboration with Gadwaso and Punjab PGI. So first is obviously the vaccination. Vaccination will have to be part of any control plan that you want to use. So we basically can't do without it. So vaccination is the requirement. The good thing about it is that now this is the tweet that your Prime Minister tweeted about it after the first cabinet meeting after the election. As the Chief Secretary was talking about, they have given special scheme was launched to eliminate foot and mouth disease and brucellosis in livestock in 5 years, which is a good news. So given that this tweet came, as as your chief secretary was talking about, after the first cabinet meeting of the new government, which tells you it is a high priority for the government. So, which is great. So so the funding has been provided. So the availability issue, I think, it will be sorted. The other problem with the so the approach that we will recommend is the blanket, the second approach of the three scenarios that we tested: the blanket vaccination in the beginning, at the start of the campaign, and then followed up with the vaccination of the female calves. If that is not possible, the first approach, where you just vaccinate female calf, is also okay, but that will take longer for you to control this. The problem of self-inoculation, I think we can use the vaccination guns. In Australia, we have the same problem with the good air vaccine that we use for yoni disease in sheep. There were some issues with self-inoculation, and it used to cause very severe lesions in veterinarians or in people who were being vaccinated. So the vaccinators are usually not veterinarians in Australia. So that probably could be tried here. I'm just speculating this, or just kind of discussing it. We haven't done that, but this is something that there are people from many universities, many people from the field, so this is something that you could try. That would need, this is the kind of gun, basically you can vaccinate with single hand, automatic. And that would need a little bit larger vials. Currently the vaccine comes in dose of 10, but then it would need a little bit larger vial that you can hang it around your neck, 50 ml vial, and then continue to inject. So there's a video there, 1 minute video, if you want to. Can you show that? The right, there's a link on the right hand side. Yeah, yeah. So this is a Zoetis video that creates vaccine, so I'm not promoting for Zoetis.
Extremely effective in reducing sheep, and safely administered to ensure that only the lamb gets vaccinated and not the human. Zoetis has developed the Securus vaccine with 3 specific features. Firstly, it has a needle shroud. Secondly, it has a double-waffle mechanism. And thirdly, the needle shroud has been designed to self-detent the skin at the time of vaccination. The concept of the needle shroud is there to protect the user from any accidental vaccination. Blocking it is very important because no vaccine can leave the vaccine until the needle is fully retrieved. The needle shroud has been developed with distance on the outside of the shroud. As that shroud contacts the skin, it tends to tip the skin up, allowing the needle to sit under the skin and deliver the vaccine subcutaneously.
Securus vaccine is safe. Safety mechanism on it. It's meant to be
that sort of gun has been used in cattle, but I'm not sure if it has been tested in buffalo. So you will have to do that. So maybe give a master's project to try that in different animals, and would be good for vaccination, quick vaccination, as well as it would be good to protecting yourself from self-inoculation. And there are a number of other companies that produce it, and you can produce it locally. It's not a very difficult thing to use it in poultry anyway. Biosecurity, I guess that's something that we have to do. There are issues with the stray cattle, the introduction of animals that can be tested, and then movement between farms. That was the major thing that we noticed. We will have to make sure that we use something for movement from one farm to the other farm. The problem this is a major problem, because in Australia, when we go to a farm, we have hundreds of animals. We don't have to go to too many farms in a day. And if we do, then we kind of wash our tires and we kind of use all the biosecurity practices for moving between farms. But here the problem is you have 5 animals in the backyard and then you have to go to the second farm or household with 3 animals and 2 animals. You can't kind of use all those procedures. They take time to move between farms, but that's something you have to develop. So that's another research project or a field project for someone to investigate what can be done. This is one of the recommendations from actually a veterinarian in one of the focus group discussions, that these kind of plastic bags are available and then they can be worn on shoes, and disposable plastic bags and can be thrown out. So this is something you have to kind of develop something indigenous solution to this problem, because you have to kind of, I have been, as I said, I worked as a vet for 5 years before moving to Australia, so I know that you have to move between farms frequently, particularly when you are in a vaccination campaign, or even when you are treating animals or inseminating animals, you have to move very frequently between farms, and that is actually spreading the infection. That's something we have to control. The other, I'm saying that you should actually conduct this project, and I was, the stray cattle thing, this is a major problem. In all of the focus group discussions that we conducted with the farmers or veterinarians, all of them said this is a major problem. Then I searched the literature, what has been done to solve the problem, and interestingly, this is from yesterday. I searched for stray cattle in India. There are only 8 citations, 8 references, and only one of them is actually about stray cattle. So that's the major problem. If you think, if veterinarians in the field are thinking about it as a major problem, farmers are thinking it is a major problem. No research is being done. That is incredible. And if you think about the other, this is the. I just searched for sequencing and there are 100-something thousand papers, So I think there are vice chancellors here, there are academics here. I think we need to think about what kind of research we do. You need to solve problems that are faced in the field. If stray cattle is a problem, if biosecurity is a problem, you need to conduct research and find solutions for that. I'm not saying that you shouldn't do sequencing. That is important, but you should also prioritize other things. Animal health infrastructure will have to be built. Cold chain was the problem. So you have to build cold chain. You have to provide those. When we talked about PPE or personal protection, they said nothing is available to protect. So basically, you would have to. There is no availability of personal protection. So if they said that if it is available, if for example goggles are available, they can use it. If gum boots are available, they can use it. If gloves and sleeves are available, they will use it. But the infrastructure is those personal protection is not available. So you will have to make sure that, so just vaccination is not the solution. You have to kind of have a holistic approach, and you also have to solve that issue. You could also use public-private partnerships, could involve private companies if you want to with vaccination, but this is something, the decision that you have to make. Animal identification systems, obviously will have to identify animals that are vaccinated to make sure that we identify that this animal is not infected, but it is seropositive because it was vaccinated, so that has to be done. There are a number of systems, and I was very surprised to know that the work that has been done in Haryana. I would like to congratulate people from Haryana to develop that system where every animal is on, a photo of every animal is in the system, which is great. And your Chief Secretary, Additional Chief Secretary, also talked about animal face recognition, and actually that work is being done. And the person who is doing that work is Haryana Kashora. So he's doing that work in our university. He's in the very preliminary stages. He has done a lot of work on artificial intelligence and machine learning, and it is in the very preliminary stages. So he developed that machine learning tool for lambs, and the correlation, the identification was 92%. So the machine or the computer was able to correctly identify 92% of lambs. But unfortunately, after 6 months, it wasn't able to identify any because they had grown old. So that has to be improved. But there are ways. So the animal identification system has to be developed. There are cryptograms called blockchains. Well, surveillance will have to be done, but we need to make sure that we are not just doing surveillance for surveillance purposes. We need to obviously estimate brucellosis prevalence to evaluate whether the program or the campaign that we are conducting is actually working. So we need to estimate prevalence and vaccinate and then estimate prevalence. But we need to see what is the best available approach. I wouldn't recommend individual animal testing because from our focus group discussions, it was clear that if you test an individual animal, they will sell it off to another farmer and that will result in spread of the infection. It's better to use that bulk milk testing, and actually we are also recommending that is even cheaper and more logistically feasible approach is to test your veterinarians. So we actually conducted a pilot project in Punjab where we tested veterinarians as well as we tested milk from those regions, and the prevalence in veterinarians and cattle was correlated. So what we are recommending is that we expand that pilot and actually you test veterinarians in your region and you will find out what the prevalence of the disease in cattle. That would be much easier and a cheaper way to do it, and it's the one health approach because you would also treat your veterinarians or animal handlers and pharmacists and help them. All right, the fifth point is abortion investigation. We discussed that in our focus group discussions, and they said there are no guideline of what we do with abortion. When a farmer comes to you with abortions, there are no SOPs for abortion investigation. That's something you would have to strengthen. You would have to make sure that there are actual standard operating procedures of what you need to do, which samples you have to collect and send to the laboratory, and obviously you have to then strengthen the laboratory for that. But there should be a stepwise approach. Step 1, step 2, and step 3. You have to rule out some of the pathogens. So abortion is not always due to brucellosis. So that will have to be done, and we will have to develop the capacity of the field workforce in epidemiology, in outbreak investigation, and in surveillance. And you need to kind of make a policy about protocol about what to do when a farm or an animal is positive. Doing nothing is not an issue, as I said, that you will sell the animal. So the veterinarians were not sure what to do. So they said there is no policy or protocol to do what to do when the animal is positive. So they can't officially say anything to the farmer, right? So you will have to develop a policy or a protocol when if an animal is there's an abortion and it is positive for brucellosis. This is something they have to do. You can't leave it to the veterinarians to make those decisions. You have to make those decisions that in consultation with the veterinarians, but you have to make a policy or SOPs. And obviously train those veterinary workforce, which I don't just mean veterinarians, but also veterinary pharmacists and animal attendants in using these vaccination guns and using PPE in abortion investigations and leadership and field epidemiology. Interestingly, the Southeast Asian countries, India is actually more developed than some of the Southeast Asian countries, but they have a field epidemiology program in there. Many of those countries have field veterinary epidemiology program to train their veterinarians in field epidemiology, in outbreak investigation, in surveillance. And India should, I think, start that. And India does have a FETP program, which is the field epidemiology training program for medicals or medical doctors. but a field epidemiology program for veterinarians could be started. And education campaign will have to be conducted, so you have a lot of experience with conducting education campaigns, media campaigns for polio vaccination, for example, but that would have to be part of the package. It has to be One Health, so you will have to involve medicals, you have to involve sociologists, you have to involve private partners. And this is just an article that I found very interesting from again, your Chief Secretary. Yeah. Talking about the One Health approach. All right, so the problem-based research, so that's the ninth point of our program, that we should conduct some research to solve problems. So involve field vets in deciding what to be done. So there's a lot of research is being done in all of the veterinary universities and agriculture universities, but in deciding what should be done, that should be done in consultation with field vets. The field vets are the front line. They are facing the problems day-to-day basis. So they should be consulted about what should be done, what are the problems that the university should solve. And this is about program management and leadership. We will have to set up a national and a state disease control center. We don't have time to discuss, but so this is the overall brucellosis control plan, draft plan at the moment. We are in the process of publishing. So I think these stars are aligning, so you have a critical bill as indicated by the tweet from the Prime Minister. You have a Ministry of Animal Husbandry now, and you have a minister who is a veterinarian. This is probably the first country in the world with a minister who is a veterinarian, and you have a secretary who talks about One Health. So time has come for brucellosis control, so let's get it done. Thank you.
Which is a problem being faced by veterinarians all over the country, almost endemic everywhere, and we have been facing it for the past 20 years, and the government of India has already initiated steps to that. So if they have one or two quick questions.
So recently, central government has announced this exclusively with FMD and the brucellosis control program. What is the guidance already given, the amount of whether a countrywide program is going to be run?
Yeah, that's a good question. Yes, the central government has announced funding for the brucellosis control program, brucellosis and foot and mouth disease control. I haven't been able to get details of the program. I think the details are yet to be worked out, but they have actually allocated funding, which is around 12,000 crore for both foot and mouth disease and brucellosis. Dr. Gill, you want to confirm?
The government has already initiated brucellosis control program 3 years back. Just it is enhancing the funding of that too, because in this only few states have been covered, and in the initial stage, now it's just like FMD, all the animal has to be tested, the brucellosis for the similar program throughout the country is to be started, which has been initially started in phased manner, brucellosis control program. I think in 3 years back it is started.
So,
Yes.
we say animals suffering from brucellosis are decoy. It's very easy to say to segregate and cull. But what is to be done with these animals, especially farmers?
Absolutely. That's the million-dollar question. So I'm not saying cull them. I'm not saying cull them. So in this program, I'm not saying cull those animals. But what I'm saying is that you need to make a decision. You can't leave it for veterinarians or frontline people to make those decisions. So you need to make the government or the policy makers need to make a policy about what to do. So in the whole program, I'm not saying that test the animal. That's why I'm not saying test the animals. If you test the animal, if the animal is positive, you don't know what to do with that. So don't test the animals until you don't know what to do with them. I would say just use this 10-step approach where you vaccinate, use biosecurity, test milk or for prevalence purposes, if you want to test them, then you need to know what to do with them. For abortion cases, obviously they come to you. You can't deny that. You have to test them. But then again, you need to have a policy about what to do. You have to have SOPs or standard operating procedures. Veterinarians should know that this is step one. This is what I will have to do. If the animal is positive for brucellosis, this is what I will do. If it is positive for Q fever, I don't think culling is at this stage, particularly at this stage of prevalence, when you have high prevalence, culling is not a one part of the program.
Government of India in the DBT project has initiated a Brucella-free village program. It is initiated in the 5 states. In every state, 5 villages has been chosen. In those villages, government has given the funding for the testing and segregating the animals, and the food are segregating within a village. They have made a yards and given all the funds. It is a pilot project. They have tried it to see what's the benefit and what will be the cost. If it is the second phase is 5 other states will be initiated in next year to find what is the benefit if we are to segregate within a village and exporting it by offshoring, and will it able to control the disease, or what will be the pilot project already?
So FAO and everybody would recommend testing and culling and testing or segregation, and that's what we thought would be a good idea. But when we conducted focus group discussions or consultation with veterinarians and farmers, they said it is a good idea, but it is not logistically possible. So they said it is not possible to segregate within a farm or within a village. You could pilot it, obviously it could be piloted and trialed, but feasibility was found to be quite low. So that's why I haven't included that in this program.
Currently, what is to be done with the infected animals?
That's the same question. There are solutions, but you have to sit together and discuss that. You need to organize a workshop. Yeah. That's why I said there are legal issues as well, and there are legal issues according to, I'm not a legal expert, so I don't know, and we should consult some legal expert. According to law, I guess probably you could call them, but then you would have to compensate them, and you also have to think about the religious and social issues associated.
So we will discuss it afterwards. We sort of time and we invite another speaker. Dr. Satya is at FMD Lab for Bright Institute, Ashroad Walking Survey. This is a very famous institute working on FMD and other compounded diseases like PPR, So he will be delivering his talk today because we have just started the program on FMD, which is very important problem for our country.
Okay, so I will reduce my talk, no problem in that. But I'm talking 2 topics that are foot and mouth disease and PPR, but I will reduce. Thank you very much, Dr. Mahajan, and also the rapporteur. And I would like to thank first to the IVA and particularly to Dr. Karian, who has invited me, and I thought it is a good opportunity to tell
our veterinarians about the foot and mouth disease and PPR, which are really the main problem or strategic problem for our veterinary improvement or development. And this is not only problem for India, this is a very international problem, and both the diseases are transboundary diseases, and as long as regionally we are not controlled, and also very difficult to control in one country. So before talking this problem, I will introduce a little bit about my institute. So how to go this one? Like Dr. Mahajan said, my institute is called as Purvite Institute, which belongs to Biology, Biotechnology, Science Research Council, like your ICR here. And I myself is involved to another 3 universities, one in Murdoch University, Australia, and also Oxford University, and also as Royal Veterinary College in London University in London. So this is the Purvite Institute, which is based in southwest part of England, and earlier we have 3 institutes, one in Purvite, which is existing now, and the other one is in Compton, and the third one is the neuropathological unit in Edinburgh. We have closed both the neuropathological unit and as well as the Compton, and we are concentrating now only the virus. So our main work is concentrating on the virus now, so we are not working anymore on parasitology and the bacteriology. So as you can see, our main work, particularly we divided into 5 streams, and mainly you can see disease diagnostics and disease surveillance, which includes in the reference laboratory. Then we work on immune response to viruses and infections and also vaccines, and we work particularly on different virus biology. I'll show you a little bit later on. Then the virus host interaction and the role of antibody vectors in vectors mechanism like equilopods and others. So as you can see here, we are dealing with many reference, like a World Reference Laboratory, Y Reference Laboratory for many diseases, and 2 of them I will cover today, but you can see the also including this foot and mouth disease and PPR World Reference Laboratory. We are holding also Blueton Reference Laboratory, African Reference Laboratory, earlier Interface Laboratory, and also Mark Disease Laboratory, and a few others. So as you know, foot and mouth disease is a big problem, and it is caused by a positive strand virus, which is RNA virus, foot and mouth disease. And what I want to show here, the main difficulty is the antigenic variation. And you can see we are having 7 serotypes. You know, in India it is only 3 serotypes is prevalent now, and the C already stopped circulating throughout the world. So 3 here and 7 throughout the world. So that one vaccine doesn't give any cross protection between the different serotype, and again in each serotype there are different subtypes, and one vaccine of subtypes cannot give protection to the other subtypes, particularly in A serotype. And the other problems are the carrier, and here the virus can stay inside in the throat of the animal, and in cattle, buffalo up to 3.5 years, and buffalo particularly water buffaloes and up to 5 years. So this is the problem. These carrier buffaloes, they will spread again the disease, so very difficult to control the disease. Then the main thing comes as I said at the beginning, the antigenic variation, and the most important thing which I am going to show, and very importantly in our situation in India, is the short-term duration immunity. And our people, as you know, we are doing the biannual vaccination, and still we get a lot of outbreaks, and then we complain against the vaccine industry or against veterinarians why our vaccine is not working. So this is why I thought out of my whole deep research I have selected very 2 light research to tell our veterinarians. So one thing I want to say that our FMD vaccine all over the world, not in only India here, only gives immunity until maximum 3 months, not 6 months. but our biannual vaccination covers up to 6 months. Then what happens if I am vaccinating my animal in January, then it goes up to March month only. Then I am vaccinating the second vaccination in July. Then who will cover my vaccination immunity from March to July? That brings all the outbreaks in India or in other countries. And particularly this happens for the low serotype and for the sub serotypes. And their antigens are very weak, and maximum 3 months. I will show you, even using an Indian vaccine, how much it gives the protection, antibody protection. And as you can see, I'm not going to show much here, but you can see the red things, all these are the endemic countries, and some are the green. They are controlled by vaccination. And at least if we can reach with our big vaccination program, I can give you guarantee I'm dealing with FMD throughout the world, and nobody is having such a vast vaccination program, but our program is very much failure, I can say. Because you can get, every time we declare that we are not getting 5 years outbreak, then suddenly in 2-3 states and all outbreaks comes, and then we fail and everybody criticizes us in the outside. So then what are the problems and how we will tackle this situation? And I am dealing only one problem today, which I have already said. As you know, this is a field vaccine and gives only 3 months immunity. So then the main problem is how we will tackle this situation, how to give to biannual vaccination and give the protection. 2 ways we can do this here. I will tell the summary of the work I am going to show. One is you vaccinate in January, then you boost it in February. Then after your boost, your immunity will continue up to 6 months. Then you are giving your second vaccination in July. So that you are fully covered and there will be no outbreak. And this is the strategy has been done in Turkey as well as in South America. The figure I showed, all green in South America. So by doing vaccination biannual same as us, and also doing one booster dose after 1 month, it controlled fully. And now they got the certificate by vaccination, they control. And they are going to eradicate the disease fully. In 2 places in Colombia, they are getting eradicate the sporadic outbreak, and no other places throughout the continent. So if I will show you 2 examples of 2 vaccine experiments here. And if you see, the white one is a SART experiment and the black one is a serotype experiment. And you can see what I want to say here, both the experiment has been done in Fulbright, and the black one, the serotype experiment, all the animals were protected. And 3 groups I am showing here. In each group, 5 animal has been done according to the European Pharmacopoeia. And same in white, you can see these bars are the neutralizing antibody, whereas the lines here the interferon gamma, which is the central memory of the cell-mediated immunity. You can see in the white or the SART experiment, 4 animals out of the 15 were infected. Even in the high dose group, they were infected. So you can see in SART, the higher amount of neutralizing antibodies is there, but still 4 animals were infected. Then what was the reason? And that was in 2004 for the first time we showed in our group that is due to not only whole responsibility of neutralizing antibody, there is some other immunity working, and that also gives protection, that is cell-mediated immunity. So because in A serotype you can see both cell-mediated immunity and the line that central memory interferon gamma both are giving protection. That's why all animals were protected even in the 1/16th dose of vaccine. And whereas in SARS, even in the highest dose there is no cell-mediated immunity. That's why 4 animals were infected. So then what we can do this? Without the boosting, if we will do another thing, we all know that how this adjuvant can help us. These new generation adjuvants, like take example the tool-like receptors, TLRs. If you add, currently we are using the oil adjuvant vaccine, and some places also still alum adjuvant vaccine. And that's why we are getting mostly CD4 response. And we have shown in the last figure there is very little CD8 response. That's why we are not getting the sterile immunity. So that's why all the animals by 3 months they are losing the immunity. So how this adjuvant helps? in a various way I have plotted here. I'm not going to tell you one by one. So this will stimulate both the cell-mediated immunity, and also it will help for the maintaining the neutralizing antibodies, so that we can increase the things. So that's why the TLR adjuvants which have been used in human vaccine, we selected some of them from there and I have listed here. And what we did here, we have taken our FMD serotype antigen, which is giving full protection and but very little. And you can see I have taken only 2 milligram, whereas the vaccine is used minimum 6 to 10 microgram. So here we have taken only 2 microgram of the antigen, because we want a suboptimal dose. Then only adding these adjuvants, we can see the effect of adjuvants. So as I showed here, the 2 adjuvants out of these 5 came with 100% protection with very little, 1/3 of antigen, 2 microgram. And that is poly-IC, which is TLR3, and also the Abisco, which is the Eastern matrix. Sorry, this is done? Okay. So this, what we did here, we have taken these different groups. I will go a little bit step ahead. So this here I showed only 2 groups, they are fully protected, and as I said, Abisco and the TLR3 group. Then this is the protocol we have taken 5 in each group, and you can see all the 5 animals in Abisco as well as in TLR3 poly-IC, which is a very cheap adjuvant poly-IC, and all the animals are detected. How they were detected, so that we need to see now. Sorry. So if you see here, we have done the FACS analysis for both interferon gamma, internal staining CD4 and CD8. You can see only poly-IC has given both CD4 and CD8 in the last below 2 panel. And so that means this TLR3 stimulating the CD8 response, which we are searching for many years. And we are getting only CD4 response. So if you see here, I have plotted here both neutralizing antibody as well as these cell-mediated immunity interferon gamma. So you can see both poly-IC and Abisco, they are having both. So that's why giving the full immunity. So what we learn from this, if you see what I'm actually saying, using the new adjuvants which are giving both CD4 and CD8 balance, cell-mediated immunity along with our conventional neutralizing antibody, that can give you full protection. And that now we need to see whether that can linger our immunity, which was the important question I asked, whether it can linger more than 3 months. Because we are having a gap 3 months to 6 months. So the next experiment we did at Indian Immunological, and with taking the Indian vaccine here, and we changed the serotype to O serotype. And this time we have taken 10 microgram antigen, full antigen dose. And we have taken this poly-IC and also the conventional antigen, as you can see from here. And with larger number of animals to see the statistics, how it is happening. And if you see here, the blue bars, the area with the poly-IC and keeping the oil as intact. And the red ones are only with the oil, the conventionally used now. And you can see by 3 months, there is very little neutralizing antibody here. This is for the neutralizing antibody. And whereas all the poly-IC, they are having very high neutralizing activity. And the protective efficacy, as we know, it is higher than that, all the blue lines. So if you see the interferon gamma, you see in the top ones, in the conventional vaccines, there is no interferon gamma, very little. And if you see the down ones, which are having the poly-IC, it is having interferon gamma. And if you see do here the FACS analysis, you can see in the poly-IC group by 120 days, you can get very high CD4 and CD8 response, whereas you are not getting that one in the conventional vaccine. So in summary 2, I am not reading all these things, again I am saying, so that means adding a new adjuvant, we can linger the immunity up to 4 months to 6 months, which we are hunting for, and which can take us up to second vaccination, and we can get protection full year, and up to the another vaccination in January. So that is the take-home message I will say. With this, I want to acknowledge my colleagues working in my group and some of the collaborators in corporate. And also I want to think big thanks to Indian Immunological Dr. Srinivasan, who was at the time collaborating with me, and now Dr. Anand Kumar and his colleagues from Indian Immunologicals, and the funding from various So with this, I will go quickly switching to PPR, and you know all about the PPR and how it became the devastating situation in 1994 in India. So the important thing here to remember, when the PPR comes into a new country, take example in 2014, it came to China, so it causes a devastating situation in China, all over China. So at that time, the mortality rate was more than 90%. But when we become endemic, then our mortality rate reduced. That's why we are taking it very easily. But however, after the eradication of foreign pest, the first animal viruses, we are trying to eradicate this PPR by 2030. And the OI and FAO, they are taking the lead of this. But then how we are taking forward the control or eradicate the disease, because we are having the very big weapon, that is the PPR vaccine. The important message here to think for other vaccines is this vaccine is a live attenuator vaccine. Whereas I showed in FMD, there is a kill inactivated vaccine. Because due to this live attenuator vaccine, these virus replicate inside the body, and particularly in the lymphatic nodules and the tonsils. That's why it provides very lifelong immunity, and so as it provides both CD4 and CD8 responses, and that's why it lingers the immunity. And I will not take you much on this, because this disease is also very important to learn how the vaccine is working, for starting from measles and other morbid viruses I have listed here. And then this disease is having a very wide range of hosts. You can see how many hosts in wildlife they are affected here. And the same here in India, Pakistan situation, ibex to even camel, and Indian scientists, they show also how the Gir jungle, these lions are also affected by this. And recently in 2016-17, this Mongolian Saigo has been totally, they have gone out. Only 1% of Mongolian Saigo is available now in Mongolia by PPR. So the devastating situation is very big. I have given you here a calculation how the 5,000 million sheep and goats in 2006, when the disease came first to Kenya, and devastated situation with $15 million loss to the country. So then what FAO is doing? So they are having the big strategy now to eradicate the disease, and we all are impressed by pest eradication. So we will reach with the similar vaccine with the lifelong vaccines. Then why we are worried? If lifelong vaccines, why we are doing all these things? We can vaccinate and do this. But remember, just to remind you, we took 50 years to eradicate pest. And here we are not thinking this one. The eradication program just started in 15, and we are saying by 30 we will eradicate. How we will eradicate within 15 years? Because we have developed our labs and diagnostic procedures. We have developed our epidemiology detection. We can do the full genome of the virus, where it is circulating, how, from which country to which country it is moving. So all these we are equipped now in all different labs, including India. And we are lacking only one problem with this vaccine, is that we cannot differentiate between vaccination and infection. And this is why we took minimum 15 years extra time during the eradication of pest. Because our vaccine was good, but at the last moment we could not differentiate between natural infection and the vaccinated animals. The antibody we cannot differentiate. So that's why we are struggling since 5 to 10 years to develop a DIVA vaccine. And by using inverse genetics, and we made the same Sungari 96 Indian strain and Nigeria 75 vaccine strain from Africa. We made it by reverse genetics 2 DIVA vaccines, which I am going to show briefly. So these are the 2 cDNA clones which we have sequenced carefully and correct the sequence previously available and submitted by different people. And then what we have done, we have not assembled them. and directly, without spending time, we have ordered them synthetic genes, full genome. And with that full genome, we have introduced GFP, and some versions we have not introduced GFP, and taking the full length cDNA copy and providing the helper plasmids N, H, and L. So we could recover the virus exactly same as the virus we are having with few amino acid changes. How we did this, when we manipulated the genome, we have the synthetic gene, we have seen a DMV, Dumping mobile virus, exactly same as PPR. We have changed some of the amino acid, they are in N gene, which is not very protective, and to the PPR. And in that way we rescue the virus. Then these are the rescue penetration and the growth characteristics. It is exactly same as our conventional vaccine Sugar 96. They have been shown there. So then when everything is right and the virus is going as exactly same, and we characterize everything exactly same as the parent vaccine, then we took it to the animal. If you can see, I have shown here Sungari 96 PPR DIVA vaccine, then I am showing here some PPR has been written Sungari 96 PPR vaccine, the existing one, then the 5 control animals. They are vaccinated and 5 control animals are not vaccinated with anything. Then gradually by 28 days they are changed with another serotype, not serotype, another lineages, African lineages, to show our Indian vaccine, even the existing one, are the protected. There was a question every time. African vaccine is protected in China and in what is this one, in North Africa, in Morocco. So the even lineage for our virus outbreak was there, but they use the African strain and protected. And nobody has shown that by using Indian strain, Sungari 96, whether it will protect for Africa. That's why we have vaccinated with Indian strain and then challenged with the Africa strain. So it is fully protected, I will show. And you can see here, only here control animals has gone the high temperature, and leukopenia happened only for control animals, not for the 2 vaccines, including DIVA and the things. And only control animals got the genome copy, in no other places. And if you see the neutralizing antibody, exactly same as the DIVA vaccines and the conventional vaccine. And use the existing ELISA and ELISA events commercially available, then you can see it is detected here in this ELISA. If it is 50% and below, then that is positive, and 50% and above, they are negative. You can see the control, they all are negative, and after that the challenge, all were positive, both DIVA and the conventional vaccine. That means the current test cannot differentiate between DIVA strategies and a natural infection. Then you see here the protein we express with our mutated amino acid and the protein we express with the natural antibody. If you see the first panel, there it is not detected the DIVA, only detected the control animal and the parent conventional vaccine. And when we use our recombinant antigen, you can see only detected the DIVA vaccinated animals, not the conventional anti-vaccinated animal and the control animals. And you see the panel I have shown plus, minus. So that means the DIVA strategy is working with your DIVA vaccine, and you can clearly differentiate between vaccination and infection. So what we are not aiming to do is DIVA vaccine tomorrow. So our current vaccine is very good and excellent. We are taking forward, but this is necessary. We are just preparing at the last phase. So we have control or eradicated in the pest by 2000. But we declared eradication by FAO by 2011. We took 11 years to declare because we are struggling there. These antibodies are due to infection or due to vaccination. So now we are having a weapon, and at the last phase we can differentiate between vaccination and infection. That is my take-home message from this conclusion. And with this, I would like to thank my collaborators here, particularly in Tanubhas, where I am also the alumni of Tanubhas. I have done my PhD there, and Dr. Dinakar Raj and Dr. Tirumurgam. So they both are my collaborator, and from IVRI, Dr. R.P. Singh and Muthu Chalpon, and also Royal Veterinary College, Richard Kopp, and my colleagues in the institute. And funding, this is the first funding we got as a internationally collaborating funding from DBT and BBSRC. So we are very successful in this, and a couple of press release and a lot of news has come both from DBT and BBSRC how successful we are in this project. And also I am very thankful to ICR because one of my PhD student, Manish Baraj, who has worked in ICR PhD student and do this work. Thank you very much for listening, and any questions I will be very happy to inform. I'm sorry it is very difficult to tell you about 2 diseases and within this limited time, my reduced time, so I have taken it very little bit quickly.
Thank you, Dr. Parida. So those are very important, but we will take questions afterwards, I think.